altogether. But the nature of what we import is again just the same. If you look at China, if you look at India, if you look at Europe, if you look at some of what we bring in from the States, it is all still defined as almost finished product. Now the question that I have, and I appreciate some interaction, if not a lot of interaction, is if we look at moving towards a more polar east type of trading relationship, how do we guard ourselves or enable ourselves to actually maybe export more finished product? So, I'll look for hands. Anyone that has a view in terms of what your observations are and what you think needs to change if we are looking at China as a partner to trade. Here. I've got this hand first and I'll come back to you. If you could introduce yourself very quickly.
Thank you very much, Amish. My name is I'm with the agriculture sector network. I'm really looking for the private sector in the agriculture sector. So I think to begin with, we need to look at our new realities. So when we're making financing available, for example, in the agriculture sector, are we looking at the opportunities for compliance, for instance, when you're looking at the cost of compliance to sanitary and phytosanitary aspects, which are very critical, the technical barriers to trade, for instance, whether it's the ESG that is now coming in. And a conversation that we're having in the agriculture sector is we will go ahead and comply to which China factor in that extra cost. How do we negotiate? How do we ensure that, for instance, Latin America, which is a significant competitor, they are also significantly built, that we are also not going to be overlooked and they will give them the opportunity. We are exporting the same commodities, they have relatively more industrialized, so they have relatively more efficiency compared to us. So we need to look at those other structural issues, besides the finance, besides opening up the market, and even the education, for instance, of the education.
Thank you. Those were very important comments. I'll continue now. The one further question that I had, because I think the vulnerability that God's given me is that I can always find a question for something else, is that industrialization that everybody else is involved in. Is it entirely your problem if you're the owner of everything? And by everything I'm talking about the resources of the commodity. Or somebody really wants it. Can we actually collaborate together where maybe in some instances almost impoverished to actually create that? That's just a general question. Sorry, over to you.
Thank you so much. My name is Maurice Wanya from Zambia. I'm the head of transactional banking here. So without doing something very radical and political, I think what is kind of
Africa needs to think as one of Africans
RMB and all that. We can actually make a call
so that we can have common value addition.
That's why I say without doing something radical and political, I think those are the true solutions and true sense.
And on the side, I did. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Nairobi. I'm a sports consultant and I'm affiliated with the Organization of Women in Trade in Kenya, Kenya chapter. Given that Africa is going to host or be the continent that has the youngest population in the next 5 to 10 years, and we are talking industrialization, but we're really in a digital age right now. But we need to catch up with the rest of the world, because if you look at where China is in terms of production, you can literally get anything in China. They made it so easy, such that even with just a phone call, you don't even have to be there. Just send a WhatsApp message and send a photo of what you need. Give them a description. They will ask you exactly what you need and they will give to you. How are we catching up as Africa, given that the youngest population is going to be the largest population in Africa? How are we?
Potentially Africa was a continent that was colonial. without necessarily beneficiation. So the value that was derived for Africans was at a fraction of the value derived for others, whoever those others may be. But that being said, must we think about how to be smarter? There's that saying, you learn vicariously from experiences of others. But before I go on, I heard the word currency. So I have to turn to you to ask you some thoughts on currency, and then maybe, is there a nifty way of doing different types of business with China?
Yes, I think there is, but what do people think about that? So I have a question in that regard. How could local currencies and the Chinese yuan reduce the dependence to the US dollar in bilateral transaction between both China and Africa? What do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
So please introduce yourself. You come.
My name is Shunker. I'm in payments, fintech, and e-commerce. So first, before answering the second question, I want to just make a small remarks to the last position. Africans are good at talking, and good talkers, talkers. And when you look at now, when you talk about history, the first Chinese company that was set up in Kenya was in 1889. I literally went to see where it was, and it was coming in and studying what is happening where in Africa. Did anybody know? No. Does Africa has any data points to see how is the next innovation coming in? We're good at talking. Our leaders will do that, do this. Literally, I think our first focus should be how do we trade amongst each other? You can tell, you can love China out of the rest of the world. In China, we do they have the market, and they can test everything. And literally, a new phone comes in China, just in the 1 million units being sold, and that one will thrive as a region. Can Africa do this? Germany earns $6 billion on coffee. Germany does not make family coffee. It's unknown. Yet Kenya got about 30 billion shillings in coffee. So there's a lot to talk about it. Now, in terms of currency, I think we overvalue the US dollar, but also think the US dollar is at a disadvantage. Because right now we are thinking we are depending on the dollar. But let me tell you something, that dependence on the dollar makes the US on itself its own enemy, because if they're going to buy things are going to be expensive. So by the time Trump gets to do all these things on the tariff to make it make more sense, guess what he has to do? It has to get to the point where $1 is equivalent to 30 shillings, 10 shillings, literally, for them to be able to thrive. So what did China learn from it? China never, in fact China has been devaluing their own currency to be able to stay competitive. So I would say it's something in the currency field. I think it's easy to do an open door between two banks, Chinese bank and a Kenyan bank here, right? And we look at how much is going to China and how much is coming here. And then you look at what is the essence of like on a deficit on a surplus level. And then at that point, do we buy Chinese yuan or do we sell or do we buy Kenyan shillings between China and Kenya in that aspect? I think for me, that's how you make trade make more sense. Don't go to stable coins, scrap. No government is going to accept that. Don't go to all this. It's so easy. It's literally on our hands, and you can map it out. It comes so easy and make Africa work on itself. Right now, we need to industrialize Africa. Africa has the potential to do things, industrialize and make Africa trade with each other. The rest, forget it.
Thank you for your answer. And I think you mentioned a few good points. And we can also think about mutual agreement between Africa and African countries, let's say, in China. So we talk about currency swap agreements. That is a way things can more increase in terms of
currency exchanges. There is this CIPS system that is being more and more used. You can go also this route to increase exchange between both regions. We can also think about the use of yuan as a central currency as China is pushing it right now. So these are paths we can explore, but it cannot be done, as you said,
decompress.
it's a strong currency.
No,
Why?
what's up?
Because most of the
WhatsApp
export
ni
of
2 GB by the way, si una free wifi? Ni 2 GB maximum. Hebu weka nione kama itakuwa.
You can see there is a shift
Wacha ni
where
text uji text me unaona pale kwa yourself.
China talk
Andike namba
about
yako
Angola,
alafu
who
utume
is
hapo.
exporting a lot of oil to China, but it needs to get to other goods as well. And also, as I said,
Kwa pili mambo ya
the
contact.
industrialization must be
Ujaijitumia manuals hapa.
we saw the
Andika
balance
namba yangu 0719.
in the trade remain. So we need
Nataka
to
kuingia.
find ways to strengthen the exchange, to strengthen also our currency and shift a bit from the existing.
18 802 19
One
802.
point that I think resonates with me is actually I need to take two steps longer. The history of the dollar and the basis of the reserve currency
So,
is
then,
on World War II. It's one of those cases that all of us
Fanya
have
tunafanyanga kama sasa hivi ndio tunachukua namba zako.
Global is not going to be an easy task.
Haya touch sasa.
Something that I'd like to ask for currency, because I certainly see trends of us moving away on the trade side. We should all see, even when we're doing guaranteed issuances within our organization, there has been a slight uplift in alternatives to US dollar. That is genuinely the truth across all of our markets. Yeah. But in saying that, do we actually, is there anyone here who has a viewpoint on whether de-dollarization is actually an option for us? In light of, again, bringing us back to the topic, us potentially not, and here again, it's the African enterprise, us not entirely trading with the polar west, but instead trading with the polar east. So my question is really, is de-dollarization possible? Likely? No views?
Tuone kaida kubalia.
Oh, fantastic.
1.7. Sisi kama iko na storage
Again, please.
alafu kuna wifi ya
Thank
bure.
you so much. Again, I'll give an example of Zambia, where I'm coming from. That program has been there for
Ikikam ni tume.
decades now. Our in the Eastern Union, we seemingly failed to achieve realization, mainly because I think we don't have the tenacity to actually confront what the actual problem is. And as Africans, trade in Zambia quite
We'll still need to buy from somewhere else. So by virtue of that, it has to be.
What everybody's saying, I'm just wondering, are we considering the political situation in Africa? And I ask because, economies are made or broken on the, at the feet of the politics in whichever country. And again, the political willingness of...
A few more questions. I just want to check with Ali. The ticker's gone to...
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Thank you very much for that last panel. I told you we were going to spice it up a little bit. Now we want to look to the future. We're going to close with our panel on the future of payments and embracing digital